Everybody, welcome to today's podcast. This is the Breakthrough Moment podcast with Nirmata Verma. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Excited too. So for those of you who don't know what this podcast is about, this is sharing successful entrepreneurs and business owners' pivotal moment that broke them through to the next level of success. And so we're going to dive in and learn all about Nimarta's backstory and breakthrough moments. For those of you who don't know Nimarta, she is a branding strategist. She's an expert storyteller and a speaker as well. So I'm really excited for this. I guess, well, let's just dive straight into this. Would love to know, what is your pivotal moment? What was your massive breakthrough moment that's allowed you to experience the success you've experienced so far?
Yeah, so, I started my business literally during COVID, like March 2020, as a brand and marketing consultant, which is what I do or what I did in my corporate life. And when I started, I was like, what am I going to, what am I? What is this brand about? And all I could think was I just used my name, Nirmata Verma, at like Nirmata Verma brand strategy. It was really generic. And I was really going after anybody and everybody who wanted marketing or brand work done. And had this moment of realization where I just got how ridiculous that it was. Like, I tell my clients all the time, they have to niche, they have to know their audience and be clear who they're targeting and that they can't go after everybody. And then here I am, like I'm not taking my own coaching. So it was a bit like a kick in the gut moment, like, man. So the breakthrough moment really was when I realized that I had to niche and that I had to say, okay, what was I going to niche into? And what really spoke to me and the kind of people I really enjoyed working with so far at that time was the people who were like making an impact, disrupting the industry. So I literally like sent an email right then and there to my designer and said, guess what? I'm rebranding. My business is going to be called Disruptor Brand. Can you help me redo my logo? And since then, I have been focusing on brands and businesses that are making a dent in their industry.
That is so great. That is so great. So you shifted. So how much of a shift was that from your previous brand and your previous niche? And what results did that kind of create for you? Was that a game changer?
Yeah, that was a game changer. It really became, by niching down, I could just channel my energy into clients and projects that aligned with my vision. So I wasn't going after everybody. It gave me clarity on, people invited me to networking events. What kind of networking events would I say yes to? What kind of content was I going to post on LinkedIn aligned with that? Like now that I knew who were the exact type of founders and leaders that I was speaking to, it was scary because it meant that it felt like I was turning away work or it felt like I was going to exclude a lot of people. But it actually really opened doors to bigger and more aligned opportunities for me.
Interesting. Okay. It's the power of the niche. So what results ended up coming as a result of that?
So I ended up attracting more clients who were true innovators. And because we were speaking the same language, it was like from first conversation, it was a yes. There was no like, oh, let me go back and forth and do proposals. And it was literally we're sitting there having a chat. It's like, okay, when can you start? Like I want to start. I want you, which was really cool. And I felt that as well, that I had like this renewed sense of excitement and energy from my work. I was like just excited. I was talking to everybody about this is what I do. I help disruptors. And, being able to own that space that nobody is really talking about really gave me that unique positioning in like my own industry, which is a really saturated industry.
What advice could you give others who maybe are wanting to shift their niche and get more specific there? Are there any key pointers?
Yeah, definitely focus on like having clarity. So focusing on getting crystal clear. Like it starts with like, who are you as a brand? Who are you as a business? What do you believe in? What do you care about? What do you stand for? And then from there, it will help guide you in terms of, okay, if this is what I stand for, then who do I want to serve? Who can align with me in that mission? So I think clarity is the most important thing I can say.
So good. This is interesting. Any other breakthrough moments? I'm sure there's been others throughout your journey too, hey?
Yeah, I mean, the other one was realizing that, I was chasing, because in marketing, there's a term that I coined, which is called the marketing unicorn, which is like nowadays business owners just really want that one marketing person, the marketing unicorn, to do everything. So do the strategy, do all the design, do all the writing, do all the digital marketing, everything, so every component of marketing. And marketing has really expanded. It's very hard to draw a line now to go, where's the end of marketing? It seems like it seeps into everything. So it's unrealistic to expect one person to do it all. And I think I was trying to become that person, trying to like specialize in everything, and I should deliver everything to my client through just me. Or if I couldn't do it, I was then trying to find like, oh, I should hire someone who then can do it all. And so I got into this whole trap myself of the marketing unicorn. And when I had that breakthrough of realizing like, hang on a minute, that's completely unrealistic, I started to partner with collaborators who complemented my skill sets and my offerings. And I started to bring in people in my team who I would just go, okay, you're the content person. I'm only going to come to you for content. All right. You're the design person. You're the, so I had specific people in their roles for specific purposes. And it worked really, really well. And I was able to expand my service offering and actually have the confidence to scale because I knew I had the team to back it up.
For sure. Having the right team and the right lane and people sticking to their lane, hey? Super, super important. And so what kind of changed after you implemented that? Were there any distinctions or mindset shifts that you noticed? Because what I find is that as I have progressed and evolved in different areas of my business, I find that my mindset has changed. And so I'm curious to know, like, how has your mindset shifted from the very beginning, starting business, to then how you see business and how your mindset is around business now?
Yeah, I think, look, I really learned, the power of like clarity and intentionality. I learned that when I'm clear on my why and on like who do I want to serve, then naturally just start making decisions that are become so much simpler because it just becomes clear. Like you just know, okay, well, what am I going to talk about on LinkedIn? I'm not going to talk about this thing over here that has no relevance to my audience. I'm going to talk about things that my audience actually wants to know about. Then you stop chasing every shiny object and you just focus on, right, this is who I'm targeting. This is what my business is about. So that's really one big shift. And I think the other big one is like the importance of like not being everything to everyone. Because that's what leads to burnout. When you think that you can serve every type of client, every industry, every service offering. And I think a lot of marketing people fall into that trap because our skill set, but we do tend to have quite generalized skill sets. So we think, oh, we could just do everything. But I think that's actually really tiring. And it really made, like, to me, for me was a main factor in causing burnout. So when I was clear on, all right, here's what I'm going to do, here's what I'm not going to do, and I'm going to get collaborators to help me, it was the best thing for the business and for my mental well-being too.
That's a great point. That's a really good take home for everyone, is like having the business structure, ducks in a row, so to speak, being organized, having those foundations and having the basics, the foundational elements of business in place. It really serves not just the customer because you're helping create a better service, it's more aligned, more targeted, but it's also supporting the business owner. So whether that's burnout or mental health or family or time, having those things in place definitely creates a more holistic approach in all areas.
Yeah.
That's a really great point. The industry is changing so fast, right? And we've got AI, we've got, different technologies, software's coming out, and there's just, as you mentioned, so much competition. What is the future of your industry? What does the future of marketing, branding, kind of storytelling look like to you?
Yeah, so I really believe that storytelling is going to become the most critical aspect of marketing. And, especially with the rise in AI, it's so easy right now to just produce long form content or any content. And people will get over that really quickly. People will get bored and no one wants to read anything. But storytelling is different. Storytelling is about, especially the art of human storytelling. There's something that AI just can't nail because storytelling is about my experience and your experience and the shared connection of like this is what it means to be a human being in today's world. We have that unique insight that AI can't nail. And trust me, I have tried to make AI, try and get it because it would make life easier, right? But no. So I think there is going to be a shift around people getting really sick of AI generated content, and brands that can engage through storytelling and connect on that emotional level will be the brands that have the advantage.
This is great. I'm glad you spoke about storytelling. So how does someone share a powerful story? What are the tips? What are the do's? What are the don'ts? That's so interesting.
Yeah. So look, storytelling is about putting yourself in an experience, right? So you're not trying to it's not about trying to convince something or sell something. It's like, if you can think of something vulnerable in your life that happened, and you can share about that from that experience of like putting yourself in that vulnerable space again and share from that again, that's storytelling, because that will connect with people. If I tell you, so would you like me to demonstrate the difference between a good and a bad story?
Definitely.
All right, so I can tell you something, right? And this is what's not storytelling. So I can say, look, Zach, at the end of 2019, my cousin passed away, and that really propelled me to rethink my choices. And I realized I was not in the job that I wanted to be. So that's why I started my company right the year after. So that's me telling you that this happened. So here's me telling you as a story. Like, storytelling is something like this. So there I was, Zach. I was standing right in front of a big marbled table, and it was after my cousin's funeral, and I'd gone there with his mom and my mom to collect the ashes. So I can see the guy, he's scraping the ashes from this like thing that you eat, the cremation. So he takes the ashes and he lays it out on that big marble table, and I can see dust. And I'm shocked to see, small pieces of bone. And I'm standing there, and I'm confronted by my humanity. I'm confronted by, is this all we come to in the end? It's just dust and bones. And I'm crying my eyes out, because my cousin is so young. He's not even 40 yet. And fast forward to a couple months later, I quit my job. There I am. I've started my business because I know, what's the kind of legacy that I want to leave. And I couldn't find that in the corporate world. So, I felt something just telling you that story. I was transported back to that moment when I saw that. It impacted me for real, even just telling you now. So storytelling takes courage. It's about allowing yourself to go and to be in that experience that is vulnerable, that is personal, that is like, oh, I don't know if I should share this in public, I'm keen to hear from you, like, what was your experience having heard about that contrast?
Yeah, for starters, thank you so much for giving that example. I definitely felt the biggest shift from the second version. Even, my first thoughts in the beginning were like, okay, like you shared, I thought the first one was a story. I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Like, that sounds like a story. And then you just dropped into the second one and just like, and I felt I had shivers. I was like, yeah, that was shocking and then very touching. So there's a massive difference there. And I think, yeah, hearing the detail, hearing the specific moment, this podcast, the breakthrough moment. Yeah, this is something that I might actually, I guess, ask of the guest as well, is to take us into that moment. That's really what this is about, to bring that aha experience into people's minds. So yeah, that was a huge realization for me just then. So thank you so much.
Thanks for allowing me to do it, because it's hard to explain it, like, until you can hear it, until you can experience it, because everyone thinks ChatGPT is going to solve all their problems. Storytelling, don't worry about it. I've got ChatGPT, and I'm going, ChatGPT can't tell that story, can it? It doesn't know you in that way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly, for sure. So then, how does someone take that into their business and into their marketing and branding and things like that? Is that through, I guess, come check your website out and book in a call, right? Amazing. Couple more questions if that's okay.
Sorry.
So you could go back in time and start your business journey again. what one thing would you change?
It's a really good question. If I could go back in time, what one thing would I change? I would say I wouldn't put as much pressure on myself. I think there's something about nurturing something new, anything new, like an idea. It's like a little seedling, a little plant, and it does need that love and care. And I think I was pretty hard on myself in the whole journey. And I think a lot of us entrepreneurs are, or a lot of people with ambition, we're hard on ourselves. And it just takes away the fun and the joy. Like, what's the point of doing this and then burning yourself out and then crashing? So I'd probably go, if I could go back and change one thing, it would be my relationship to myself.
Oof. That's a great one. That's a really big one for sure. Yeah, hindsight and growth and evolution. It'd be great to take that back to the beginning. Hey, that's such a good one. That's so great. Um, yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing I'd like to go back on and looking at the business world and those that really succeed and those that really make a difference. I think it's the ability to be authentic and to express and storytelling. I really believe, I think if I could go back and develop one skill, it would be the ability to storytell. I think it's the most, it's the beginning of time we've been telling stories. So if we can do that in a business scenario, what better skill set to have that's going to cut through all the noise? So yeah, this is fantastic. Thanks. This is just a great reminder to have you here. And so if you could give an important message to, I guess, business, there's two types of people that would listen to this. There's going to be the type of person that's in a job who's wanting to start their own business, or there's those that have started their own business and are already in trenches, so to speak, and working their own business. What advice would you have? Maybe two pieces of advice or one piece of advice for them?
Yeah, I would say don't be afraid to disrupt, to break the mold, to challenge the way that things have always been done. I think whether or not you're an entrepreneur or you're an employee, that for everybody, that disruptive mindset will really go a long way. Because if you want anything new in life, or you want to take your life to a different trajectory, it's not the comfort route. You will have to break out of that comfort zone. You will have to disrupt something, even if it's disrupt your own, yourself, your own habits.
This is important. We haven't really spoken about this. This would be great to just jump into. So to disrupt, so what would be the number one company that you believe has been the most disruptive in the world, and why?
I mean, probably the obvious one would be Apple. And they've really owned that whole messaging piece as well, right? They've come up with, from the beginning of their early days, was the Think Different campaign. They've changed the way people deal with phones and computers. It's like, it's not the usual way at all. If someone is new to a Mac or an Apple system, it is very different. So that took disruption, that they weren't like, all right, what can we do that's more of the same but better, right? That's like an incremental improvement. But they went, no, we're going to flip everything. We're even going to flip how people use their cursor. We're going to flip it around. Like, everything is flipped. So I think to date, I can kind of, probably the most obvious example.
For sure. What an inspiring story, for sure. It's still developing, and it's still, I went into the Apple store the other day and I tried on the headphones, the noise canceling, and it's like, oh my God, this technology. Yeah, I'm sure it's with other technology and other headphones for ages, but it was the first time I got to experience it. I was like, whoa, this is amazing. And incredible. Is there one challenge? What would you like to challenge the audience to do or stop in terms of helping them in their business journey?
Yeah. So I think, in line with what I said earlier about, like, just, not being afraid of disruption, I would challenge everyone to identify, like, one thing in your business that feels misaligned or stagnant, and take a bold step to change it, whether it means doing what I did, like niching down, or changing their messaging, or stepping into a new industry, like whatever it is. Like, take one bold, courageous move to disrupt something in your business.
Disrupt. Go for it, guys. This is exciting. So how can people get in touch with you, and who are the people that you work with? And who is your perfect client per se? I'd love to dive into that. Love for people who've got a lot of value from today, please reach out to you and get in touch.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can find me in a few different spaces. So LinkedIn, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on my website, disruptorbrand.com. I've also got a new venture that I've co-founded called 2400.tech, where it's all about storytelling for tech brands, because we're realizing, how important storytelling is in that space, not just about jargons and features. People want to really be inspired. So you can find me at 2400.tech. So yeah, any of those channels I'm around, just hit me up.
So good, Nimarta. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate your pearls of wisdom. Everybody at home, please get in touch. And yeah, thanks so much for jumping on the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been really fun to chat.